Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. This is class for General Biology. I'm Dr. Shaida and I will be your instructor for this course. This lecture is in topic 1, cell as the fundamental units of life. In cell biology, cells are segregated into the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. The prokaryote is lacking with defined nucleus. The genetic material are dispersed in the cytoplasm. Meanwhile, for the eukaryote, it has a defined nucleus. Plant, animal, and protists are all categorized as eukaryotes. Cells are considered the basic units of life in part because they come in discrete and easily recognized form. That's because all cells are surrounded by a structure called the cell membrane, which might, like the walls of a house, serve as a clear boundary between the cell's internal and external environments. The cell's membrane is sometimes also referred to as the plasma membrane. Since cells can acquire specific function and carry out various tasks within the organism, it consists multiple types of organelles to support the system function. The organelles are nucleus, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, chloroplast, lysosome, peroxisome, centriole, and microtubule. Let's learn more on the prokaryotic cells. The first appearance of the prokaryotic cells on Earth is still unknown. It is evidence that prokaryotic life has been obtained from rock approximately 2.7 billion years of age. The prokaryote was appeared to be fossilized microbe with a content of complex organic molecule. The findings of the cells are very unlikely to be synthesized abiotically, unless it is a living cell. Scientists define a prokaryotic cell consists of a single membrane and therefore all the reactions occur within the cytoplasm. They are smaller and simpler than the eukaryotic cells. The genes also simple and do not contain a lot of cytoplasmic organelles and cytoskeleton. They can be free-living or as a parasites. All prokaryotes have plasma membrane, cytoplasm, and ribosome. The DNA is not membrane-bound. Most have peptidoglycan cell wall and many have polysaccharide capsules. The plasma membrane is an outer protective covering of phospholipid molecules which separate the cell from the surrounding environment. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance present inside the cells. All the cell's organelles are suspended in it. The DNA is the genetic materials of the cells. All the prokaryotes possess a circular DNA. It directs what protein that cell creates. It also regulates the action of the cells. Ribosome is the place where protein synthesis occurs. In some prokaryotic cells, they also possess cilia and flagella, which helps in locomotion. How do prokaryotes reproduce? Prokaryotes reproduce through a cell division process called binary fission. It is a type of asexual reproduction. Like mitosis in eukaryotes, this process involves copying the chromosomes and separating one cell into two. The process happens with the division and duplication of the parent's genetic matter into two parts. Each daughter cell receives one copy of its parent DNA. Binary fission occurs without any spindle apparatus formation in the cells, where the single DNA molecule begins replication and then attach each copy to various parts of the cell's membrane. When the cells start to get drawn apart, the original and replicated chromosome gets apart. The binary fission produces genetically identical cells mirror copies of each other and the parent cells. Prokaryotes such as E. coli, archaea, as well as eukaryotes such as Euglena reproduce through binary fissions as well. Conjugation is another reproduction process that can happen in prokaryotes. It is a sexual process in which two lower organisms of the same species such as bacteria, protozoa, and some algae and fungi exchange nuclear materials during a temporary union. The DNA is completely transferred from one organism to other organisms as happened in some bacteria and algae. They fuse together to form one organism. The conjugation is sort of like a mating process. The new progeny produced by the conjugation may or may not resemble each other in size, shape, or motility. They differ in some physiological or genetic characteristics and distinguished by biologists through the use of symbols such as positive and minus or by letters of the alphabet if more than two forms occur. Archaea and bacteria are two types of prokaryotic cells. Archaeobacteria are unicellular organisms similar to bacteria in shape and size. They have cell wall and flagella. The cell wall of archaea does not contain peptidoglycan. The membrane of the archaea have different lipids with a completely different stereochemistry. Just like bacteria, archaea have one circular chromosomes. They also contain plasmids. Most of the archaea are found in extreme environments such as methanogen. The prokaryotes are capable of converting the carbon dioxide and hydrogen gases into methane. The halophile is the prokaryotes that live in extremely salty environment. For example, they can present in the Dead Sea or certain deep sea brine pools that possess a salinity equivalent to 5 molar of magnesium chloride. The acidophile is an acid-loving prokaryote that thrive at a pH as low as 0. They can inhabit in spring and other places such as soil, marshes, and even inside humans. All of the other prokaryotes are classified in the domain of bacteria. In bacterial definition, it is a single-cell organism that do not have organelle or a true nucleus and having less complex than eukaryotic cells. This domain includes the smallest known cells with a microplasm at 0.2 micrometer in diameter, lacking of cell wall, and contain of genome with a fewer than 500 genes. Bacteria are present in very conceivable habitat on Earth, from the permanent ice shelf of the Antarctic to the driest African desert to the internal confines of plant and animal. Bacteria have been found in rock layers situated several kilometers beneath of the Earth's surface. Some of them also can be found in the human body. They have different shapes and structures. The cell wall is composed of peptidoglycan that provides structure to the cell wall. Bacteria have some unique structure, such as villi, flagella, and capsule. They also possess extra chromosomal DNA known as plasmids. They have the ability to form the dormant structure known as endospores that helps them to survive under unfavorable conditions. The endospores become active when the conditions are favorable again. Some of the bacteria's community are thought to have been cut off from life on the surface for more than 100 million years ago. The most complex prokaryotes are the cyanobacteria. The three main shapes of bacteria are coccus, spiral, and bacillus. Cocci in plural are bacteria that spherical or ovoid in shape. Some cocci remain attached after binary fission even though the separated cells have been formed. For example, diplococci are cocci in pairs, streptococci are chains, and staphylococci are clusters of multiple cocci. Tetrads are square arrangement of 4 cocci, while Sarcinae are cubes of 8 cocci. Bacilli are rod-shaped bacteria. Like cocci, bacilli can be solitary or arranged together. Diplobacilli are two bacilli arranged next to each other, and streptobacilli are chain of bacilli. Spiral bacteria are, as the name suggests, spiral-shaped. Spirillum are thick, though spirals. Spirochetes are spiral that are thin and flexible. Vibrio are comma-shaped rod with a small twist. Bacteria can also be other shapes as filamentous, long and thin, square, star-shaped and stalk. This diagram depicts the numerous shapes of bacteria. Scientists classify bacteria by the color that they turn after the application of special chemical or stain to them. One of the common staining process is called as Gram staining. Bacteria may be classified as gram-positive or gram-negative. Gram-positive bacteria look blue to purple under a gram stain. Examples of gram-positive bacteria include Cyanobacterium, Clostridium, and Listeria. Gram-negative bacteria look red to pink under a gram stain. Examples of gram-negative bacteria include Pseudomonas, Proteus, and Klebsiella. Let's study more on the eukaryotic cells. The multicellular eukaryotes include the animals, plants, and fungi, but again, these groups do contain many unicellular species. Eukaryotic cells are typically much larger than those of prokaryotes, the bacteria and the archaea having a volume of around 10,000 times greater. The dawn of the age of eukaryotic cells is also shrouded in uncertainty. It is because complex multicellular animals appear rather than suddenly in the fossil records approximately 600 million years ago, but there is considerable evidence that simpler eukaryotic organisms were present on Earth more than 1 billion years ago. Similar to prokaryotic cells, all eukaryotic cells are surrounded by plasma membrane and contain ribosomes. However, eukaryotic cells are much more complex and contain a nucleus, a variety of cytoplasmic organelles, and cytoskeleton. The largest and most prominent organelle of eukaryotic cells is the nucleus, with a diameter of approximately 5 micrometers. The nucleus contains the genetic information of the cell, which in eukaryote is organized as linear rather than circular DNA molecules. The nucleus is the site of DNA replication and of RNA synthesis. The translation of RNA into protein takes place on ribosome in the cytoplasm. The eukaryotic cells are more complex than prokaryotic cells structurally and functionally. Besides of the nucleus, it contains of membrane-bound organelle, cytoplasm, and cytoskeleton. There are dominant features of eukaryotic cells which are not found in prokaryotic cells. The first one is division of cells into nucleus and cytoplasm are separated by nuclear envelope containing complex pore structure. Second, complex chromosome composed of DNA and associated proteins that are capable of compacting into mitotic structure. Third, the complex membranous cytoplasm organelles include the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, endosome, and peroxisome. Number 4. Specialized cytoplasmic organelles for aerobic respiration include the mitochondria and for the photosynthesis by the chloroplast. Number 5. Complex cytoskeletal system including the actin filament, intermediate filament, and microtubule that are associated with the motor proteins. Number 6. Complex flagella and cilia are present in the eukaryotic cells. And number 7. The ability to ingest particular materials by enclosure between the plasma membrane or vesicle during the phagocytosis mechanism. Number 8. The plasma membrane are present in similar construction. Number 9. The genetic information encoded in DNA are using identical genetic code. Number 10. The nucleic acid have similar mechanism for transcription and translation of genetic information, which include the similar ribosomes. And finally, all the eukaryotic cells are sharing similar metabolic pathway, for example, the glycolysis and the TCA cycle. Even though the prokaryotes and eukaryotes are different, they possess similarities between each other. Among of the similarities are, they have similar apparatus for conservation of chemical energy such as ATP that located in the plasma membrane of prokaryotes and the mitochondrial membrane of eukaryotes. They use similar mechanism of photosynthesis as occur in the cyanobacteria and green plants. They have similar mechanism for synthesizing and inserting membrane protein. The proteasomes, which is protein digesting structure, are having similar construction between the archaebacteria and eukaryotes. And finally, the cytoskeletal filament built of protein similar to the actin and tubulin. Summary. The eukaryotic cells are cells containing membrane-bound organelle and are the basis for both unicellular and multicellular organisms. In contrast, prokaryotic cells do not have any membrane-bound organelles and always part of unicellular organism. Both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells have similar features like the ribosome, genetic material, cytoplasm, and the plasma membrane. Animal and plant cells are built of eukaryotic cells. That's all for today's class. Thank you for listening. See you in the next lesson. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.